3 questions from John Anthony. What do you got for me, my friend?
All right. What if Kansas City passes the no source of income ordinance?
Well, Patrick Ishmael referenced it there in our last conversation. There will be a fleeing of small-time landlords in Kansas City. That's what's going to happen. We've heard from them on the show. I've heard from them via email. They have sent us notes. You know, we heard from a young couple who owns a handful of properties in Midtown. And they caught wind of this courtesy of our show. And they said, if this happens, we're out. They are unloading all their properties. They are not going to deal with the headaches. They are not going to deal with the overreach from Kansas City government. And they will do their business somewhere else. And these are young people who own a handful of properties. They're not owning 100 properties here. We're talking about just a few. And they are not going to put up with this. And by the way, who are the buyers going to be? Some of these things. Big conglomerates? You think that's going to be better for the person trying to find a place to live in Kansas City? It's not going to be better for them. So that's what you're going to see. And those are, as Patrick Ishmael said, just one of the many unintended consequences that would take place with a policy like this. It's just bad public policy. And I firmly believe there's a couple of people who are and would vote in favor of this, who know it, but for whatever reason, just don't want to admit it. And for whatever the political reasons are, don't want to go down that road. And it's really disappointing. It's really sad. It's frustrating, but it's the world that we live in. Politics trumps good policy. You see it across the board, by the way. I'm not saying it's unique to Kansas City politicians. It's not. But it's certainly disturbing when it's like, hey, we've got all these reasons why this is a bad idea. Well, keep going. Let's do it anyway. So we'll find out. They're going to vote on this potentially tomorrow. If not, they're going to wait till January. And we're going to keep on this because I'm telling you right now, it is going to be bad for Kansas City housing. Bad. Bad for the prices, bad for housing. And it's not going to work out well. John, what's next?
What if April's ballot includes a proposed extension of Jackson County's 3/8 sales tax?
It will pass. If the Jackson County legislature can get its act together, along with the 2 sports teams, along with Frank White's office, because those are 3 different entities, if they can get their act together and just put this to a vote of the people on extending the current 3/8 sales tax in Jackson County for the next fill in the blank, 25, 30, 35, 40 years, where the money would then be split between the 2 teams, it will pass. I believe that Jackson County residents overwhelmingly would pass something like that. You just saw this, by the way, in Oklahoma City this week. Oklahoma City just passed a sales tax extension of 1 penny for the Oklahoma City Thunder to get themselves a new stadium, their NBA franchise down there. So if it was just a pure extension, no extra monies, I think they'd go ahead with it. And I think that it would not even be all that close. So that's why I believe the legislature owes it to the people of Jackson County to vote on. I don't think they need to be in the business for their own political gain and their own political purpose to take this down the road of, well, you know, what's in it for us? We'll decide if this should be in front of the taxpayers of Jackson County. No. Let the people, let the residents, let the taxpayers decide whether or not they want to continue that 3/8 sales tax. And here's why it's critical as well to get this thing on the ballot in April. Because if there is state monies for either or both teams, sorry, I was looking at the TV here. I saw Hunter Biden and Eric Swalwell on the TV. That is Dumb and Dumber in a nutshell right there. But back to the Royals and Chiefs here. If this were to go to a ballot, and if it were to be passed by the Jackson County residents, and they were to get money from the state, suddenly you've got potentially an upgraded Arrowhead Stadium, and you have the Royals going who knows where, downtown, whether it's the East Village, the old Kansas City Star building, I don't know. But that's the play for both of these franchises, And that's exactly what they want to have happen here, John. What's next on What If Wednesday?
All right. What if ShotSpotter, which is used by the Kansas City Police Department, is not designed to be preventative?
Well, then it's not going to directly correlate to a reduction or increase in homicides. KMBC Channel 9, wake up. They wrote this ridiculous story, or I don't want to say they wrote it, but it was also a written piece. But they had this ridiculous report last night on Channel 9 that John brought to my attention. New study questions effectiveness of gunfire detection system used by KCPD. And it's what John just referred to there, the audio detection system called ShotSpotter. And the system is designed to notify KCPD more quickly than a 911 call and identify the location of gunfire. But KMBC does this just nonsensical story saying a newly released study found that the gunfire detection system that the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department has been using since 2012 hasn't reduced any violent crime categories.
Yeah, they're covering a study that was published in the Journal of Experimental Criminology.
Yeah.
About that.
Well,
Experimental criminology.
Well, the study says
Yeah.
You're taking a study and applying it to something that it's not supposed to do. It's like saying, well, the Chiefs are really struggling on days where it's under 45 degrees with blue skies. What, you mean like Sunday against the Bills? No, they struggled because their wide receivers are numbskulls, not because it's blue skies and under 45 degrees. That's basically what KMBC is doing with this study that they're covering. The study suggests that ShotSpotter is not helping reduce crime. That's not the point of it. The point of it is to alert the cops after somebody shoots a gun. There's no way for that to be preventative. It's to try to catch criminals. Unbelievable. But also very much on brand for some in our local media, sad to say. What a dopey report. Wow. That's What If Wednesday. 3 questions every Wednesday morning as we approach the 9 o'clock hour here on KCMO Talk Radio.